out, turning one hand high up in the air. Awesome, probably a chance to put a hand up. Or how about thumbs up? Volume sounds good, we like it. Alright, I'm going to take that as it is all good. Well, let's go ahead and get the safari started. Welcome aboard the After Tram in the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. My name is Heather, and I'm going to be your driver and guide here for the next 25 to 30 minutes. So before we get too distracted, lots of awesome stuff about to go see. Let's get the safety talk out of the way first. And if you all can please gently jiggle your doors on either sides of your row, make sure they're fully closed. Also keep in mind that they are latched and not locked, so don't lean or sit on them. Additionally, if you're causing the top open. Also with that in mind, just make sure to stay fully seated in your seat while we are moving. If I do completely stop, you may stand up if you like to get a better look. So once we start moving again, just push that seat for me. And then next, hopefully now, but should you experience a medical emergency today out on the road, look above you up on the ceiling. You got some yellow strips suppressing to get my attention up here. Behind me, you don't have that, so we are down on the window. And lastly, any items dropped overboard off of the tram, I cannot stop and pick up for you during the tour. Let me know back to the station where you lost it.
Up on the hill, there's a couple of rhinoceroses. There's giraffes down there.
Let's get started on our left here. Got some giraffes, other things like southern white rhinos. A couple rhinos actually hanging out with the giraffe laying down. But don't worry, we'll be returning here at the end of the tour. So you can take a look a bit later as we head in. So as we do go through our tour here today on the tram, we're going to be checking out all the amazing wildlife and their adaptations, and seeing how these adaptations not only help them to better survive, but thrive in their environment. Things like coloration of markings, or sometimes even behaviors. So let's begin that all off with the coloration of the greater flamingo, and they're going to be coming up on our right-hand side. We notice the greater flamingo, they're a bit more of a white color than they are the typical pink like a lot of other flamingos tend to be. This is because this light color is better adapted to the environment where they come from, the salt marshes, so they can better survive in that given environment. And what it's doing, this lighter color, is acting as a bit of camouflage to help blend them in, as well as reflecting sunlight and heat away and off of their bodies. That's a way to stay cool in the warm sun. Just like if you were to wear a light colored t-shirt on a hot day like today. But by joining us here today at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, you have it now all entered through one of our two front doors of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Other front doors, of course, going to be the San Diego Zoo, which is downtown in Balboa Park. And here at the Safari Park, we opened our doors in 1972 to the public, and originally started as a breeding facility for the San Diego Zoo. Situated on an expansive 1,800 acres in the San Pasqual Valley in San Diego County, roughly half of the acreage is what you see in park around you right now, and the other half is going to be just outside of the park surrounding us, dedicated to protecting the native habitats of coastal sage scrub. Meanwhile, still glancing off to the right-hand side of the vehicle, looking at in the center of the habitat, under the one hut in the middle, we've got some southern white rhinos hanging out at the Nikita Khan Rhino Rescue Center, which was dedicated back in 2015 when 6 southern white rhino females actually came over from a reserve in South Africa to be here at the Safari Park in Escondido, California. As part of this project where they are studying their reproductive sciences as well as assisted reproductive techniques, things like in vitro fertilization and artificial insemination, which is of course going to help out them as a species, but as well as their very close cousins, the northern white rhino. And that is because only 2 northern white rhinos remain in the entire world. And yes, you heard that correctly, literally only 2. They're a mother and daughter pair that live on a reserve in Kenya, too old to reproduce. So what it does mean for their species of the northern white rhino is that they have become what's called functionally extinct, meaning they can no longer contribute to their kind. But don't worry, still hope for northern white rhinos, not totally doomed. What they're doing here one day at the park is working to create embryos of them one day from DNA that's been stored in the frozen zoo. We have DNA from 12 different northern white rhinos, even things like skin cells that they're able to take and turn into embryos, which I know that sounds a little bit crazy and kind of like Jurassic Park, which it totally is. But with the ultimate goal being then using in vitro fertilization or IVF, which is that embryo transplant process, into the southern white rhinos here at the Nikita Khan Rhino Rescue Center to hopefully one day be surrogate mothers for the northern white rhinos to bring them back as a species entirely. So some really amazing work going on here with all these rhinos, and I could talk about that all day, as they are my favorites. but we do have only about half an hour together today and a lot more to see. Like the beautiful savannas up ahead here as we head on in towards the South Africa habitat. And these savannas here are one of the 8 conservation hubs that the San Diego Zoo and Wildlife Alliance focuses efforts in on around the world across 6 different continents. And actually 2 of these 8 hubs we will journey through today on our tour. This one below us, the savannas, and the one that is currently up above us on the hillsides that surround the Terraces Safari Park and that coastal sage grove, which we call the Southwest Hub, or our own backyard. And we'll talk a bit more about the Southwest Hub and some conservation stories from that in just a bit. So for now, why don't we head on into the savannas up ahead and check them out. A few more 4-legged friends after these feathered friends. So something as we started with coming back up here on the right hand side again. Tan and white, these little ones are the sovereign gazelle, which come from the deserts of East Africa. And typically deserts are going to have a few less resources to go around. Things like food and water are a bit harder to find, and when you do find those things, you might have to compete a bit more. So both males and females are going to have horns because horns help in competition. Like getting resources, food and water, or all the ladies, for example. The males always have horns to get all those girls. Sometimes though, the females won't have horns. It means the opposite for resources. Got more of them, and therefore less competing. But now moving on into the left here, the South Africa habitat. Got the sable antelope, chocolatey brown with the long curving back horns. The way they're laying down right now in this group, formation that you'll see commonly displayed in with prey animals when they rest. It's called an alert circle. It's helping to keep an eye on danger. Eyes are spanning that 360 degrees around or so to help keep an eye on danger if it happens to approach. Hopefully at least one individual in the group will see that danger approaching, take an alert. Everyone else that we got some scary stuff coming our way should probably get going, and thus that name, the alert circle. Moving on up towards us though. I'm going to stop a little bit sooner as they're walking kind of towards us a bit. We got some giraffes. More specifically, these ones here are the Maasai giraffe, which are just a bit darker in coloration, spots a little more jagged and irregular in appearance than, for example, the giraffe we saw at the beginning, those East African giraffes. Hard to miss when they stand that striking 16 to 18 feet tall and fully grown. Tallest animals on Earth, of course, you could say that, quite a long shot. With their oh so long necks that actually have the same amount of vertebrae in them as we humans do, that's 7. You can imagine their vertebrae really big and long. And we like to say for about every foot of height that they have is that they have about an inch of tongue. So 16 to 18 feet tall, that's about 16 to 18 inches of tongue. If you look down at your arms, your elbows to the tip of your middle finger or so, that's about that length. And it is a very dark color, that tongue, dark gray, almost black, sometimes called a blue